What's going on, guys? Got a video about some management strategy on what to do and the quadrants on which some of your team members may fall in. So we have 4 quadrants. We have the untrained and the unwilling. You have the untrained and the willing. You have the trained but the unwilling, and then you have the trained and the willing. So let's talk about these 4 different categories and the quadrants. Let's start with the worst one, the easiest. Well, start with the best one, actually. That way we can give you the good news and the bad news. The best one is, of course, the trained and the willing team member, the person that you can actually rely on. That is a person who knows the processes, they have been trained on it, they understand the systems, they understand the goal, they understand the mission. That person or person are also willing. They understand it and they know the system, and they also understand why. And these are the best people on your team. To these, you delegate. You tell them, hey guys, here's what you do, and you give them responsibility so they can spread their wings and use their knowledge and their willingness to get to the next level. The next less person, so that was the best one. The next one are basically equal, but I will say one is better than the other. So let's start with that one. That is the untrained but the willing. And why I say this is better than the trained and the unwilling is because if a person is willing, it's a lot easier to teach that person. So that this person, they are new. Sometimes they're the people that haven't been in the company as long. Maybe they're in the first year. They have all the heart and desire to succeed. They have the hunger. They want to get after it, but they just don't have the information. They don't have the skill. They may not understand the whole process. They may have some gaps in their game. That's this person. They're untrained and they're willing. What you do with this person as a manager, you train them. So remember, the first category you delegate to. The second category you train because they are willing. And this is a great person in the long run because once they're trained, then they're trained and willing, and then you can delegate to them. The third is the person who is trained, but they're unwilling. Now, I will tell you that this isn't a permanently unwilling person. This may be a person that's going through a rough patch, or they may have lost a vision, or they may be gotten to a next level and now they don't know what's there because they wanted to make 100 grand a year. Now they made 100 grand a year and they just kind of lost that fire. So this person is trained, they understand the systems, they understand the processes, they may be a really good technician or a good service advisor, and they just lost that heat. So what you do with this person is you motivate them, you train them on the why, not on the systems, but you coach them. So I've always talked about the difference between training and coaching. Training is the processes, the systems, the nuts and bolts. The coaching is the why. It's the personal stuff. It's the, hey man, why should you come to work every day and get after it? And this person you would do that with. You would coach them, you would motivate them. And I don't like this word motivate in the traditional sense, which is like, haha, let's go, hoorah. That's not what I mean. What I mean by the motivate is the very essence, which is motive, why. The word motive means the why behind something. So you want to remind them what their why is, or ask them and pull it out from them, and hopefully it'll get them back on the track and willing. So again, the first you delegate to the first category, the second you train, third you coach and or motivate, and the last and the poorest of the categories is the person who is untrained and also unwilling. And oftentimes these are the guys that we try out on the first day, and obviously they don't know our processes, and then when they drag, then they're usually, you guys know what happens. That person, unfortunately, but you will promote them to the best role in the company, which is the role of the customer. You make them everybody's boss, aka you fire them. And I'm not a proponent of firing. I've always made the joke that I never fire anybody. The team does that, the managers do that. But if a person is not trained and not willing, honestly, guys, there's not much there. You need to just get on with it and find someone who's willing and untrained, or trained and unwilling. And it's usually my favorite kind is obviously the trained and the willing, because you can just give you that and high fives. But the second, if I had to pick anybody, it would be the untrained and the willing, because we can teach them. And you always come in, this will always be in different variations. Sometimes you have a person bounce between untrained and willing to trained and unwilling, depending on what phase of the career they're in. But yeah, guys, that's the 4 different categories that I learned from a really good friend of mine. I think it's absolutely incredible to look at all your people in this sense. This is not the only sense you look at them, but this is like a rule of thumb to see if, hey, somebody's having trouble, which quadrant are they falling in? And now if they are trained and willing, you gotta delegate. I wanna make that very clear. So once again, from the top, trained and willing, you delegate. Untrained and willing, you train. Trained and unwilling, you coach. And then untrained and unwilling, you get rid of. I hope this video is helpful. It helped me a lot, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.